The spaceship descended through Viralia's purple skies, its metal hull glinting in the light of the twin suns. The humans inside were nervous, but excitement burned in their eyes. Among them, Leo adjusted his helmet and looked out of the window. This was his first mission to an alien planet, and he wanted everything to go well. Unlike other humans who dreamed of conquest, Leo wanted to help. He wanted to show that humans could be kind and respectful. The planet below was beautiful. Vast forests stretched for miles, dotted with tall crystalline towers that shimmered like jewels. Rivers ran like silver threads across the land, and the air smelled fresh, almost sweet. From above, it looked peaceful, almost perfect. But Leo knew appearances could be deceiving. Humans had been feared across many galaxies, and Viralia was no exception. As the spaceship landed on a wide landing platform made of glass-like material, guards appeared on the edges, their tall figures glowing faintly in the sunlight. They wore silver robes and carried long staffs. Leo felt a wave of nervousness. These were not ordinary guards. He had read about Viralians, but seeing them in person was different. Their movements were fluid, almost dance-like, and their eyes glowed with intelligence and caution. The hatch opened, and a gust of sweet-scented air rushed in. Humans stepped out carefully, scanning the surroundings. Leo was the first to set foot on Viralia's soil. The ground felt soft beneath his boots, almost like stepping on thick moss. The other humans followed him, carrying equipment and supplies for their research mission. From a distance, Princess Nero watched. She stood on a balcony of a towering crystal palace, her long hair glowing like strands of light. Her eyes narrowed as she observed the humans. She had been told many stories of humans. They were merciless, violent, and selfish. She had grown up believing that one day humans might try to take what was hers, including her hand in marriage if her father allowed it. The thought made her shiver. Not that human, she whispered to herself. She had no intention of trusting them. Back on the platform, Leo noticed a small group of Viralian children playing near the landing area. One of them tripped over a rock and fell, scraping their knee. The other humans hesitated, unsure what to do. Leo stepped forward immediately. He knelt beside the child, gently examining the injury. The child flinched at first, but Leo spoke softly, "It's okay. I won't hurt you." Using a small first aid kit, he cleaned the wound and applied a healing gel he carried from the ship. The child's eyes widened with surprise. None of the humans had shown kindness like this. The parents approached, bowing slightly in gratitude. Leo smiled politely and said, "I am Leo. I am here to help, not to harm." The parents nodded, whispering to each other. Some Viralians were already intrigued. Princess Neera's eyes widened when she saw this scene. She had expected humans to be loud, selfish, and dangerous. This human knelt calmly, treating a child's injury with care. Her heart beat faster. Could it be that not all humans were merciless? But she shook her head. She could not let herself be deceived. Humans had caused pain before. She would remain cautious. The humans were escorted to a reception hall near the landing platform. The hall was made of translucent walls that reflected the sky. Inside, the emperor awaited, sitting on a throne that glowed with soft light. His expression was serious, but not unkind. He looked at the humans and said, "Welcome to Viralia. We have watched your kind from afar. Many here are afraid, but we hope to understand you better." Leo stepped forward, bowing respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We come in peace. We wish to learn about your world and share knowledge in return. His voice was calm and honest. The emperor studied him closely, then nodded. We shall see. Actions speak louder than words. After the initial greetings, the humans were led to the guest quarters. Leo took a moment to look around. The architecture was unlike anything he had seen. The walls were alive with light, shifting colors like the northern lights on Earth. Gardens floated in the air, and soft music played from no visible source. He felt awe, but also responsibility. Humans had a reputation for destruction, and he wanted to show that they could be different. Later, Leo explored the palace grounds. He noticed small details, plants that seemed to respond to touch, fountains that changed shape when approached, and birds that glowed faintly in the sunlight. He felt a deep respect for the world. It was alive in ways humans did not always understand. While exploring, he stumbled upon another Viralian child, crying because their kite had gotten stuck on a tree. Without hesitation, Leo climbed carefully, retrieved the kite, and returned it. The child hugged him, and Leo felt a warmth he had not expected. Unbeknownst to him, Princess Nira had watched from above. She could not stop looking. The human moved with care, patience, and courage. He helped without asking for anything in return. Nira's heart wavered between fear and curiosity. She whispered again, "Not that human." By evening, the twin suns set, casting pink and gold light across the palace. The humans gathered in the main hall for dinner. The food was strange but delicious, made from plants and ingredients Leo had never seen. He tried everything politely, smiling at the Viralian's approval. After dinner, the emperor called a meeting. Tomorrow, you will meet the council. They will test your intentions. Know that actions matter more than words. Show respect, courage, and understanding. Leo nodded, feeling the weight of the task. He knew the council could be skeptical, but he was ready. For the first time in his life, he felt that humans could prove themselves in the galaxy not by strength, but by kindness and courage. Princess Nira retired to her chambers, thinking about the human she had watched all day. Her thoughts were a mix of fear, curiosity, and confusion. Could a human really be different? Could she trust someone who came from a race she had been taught to fear? The questions kept her awake as the palace lights dimmed and the night settled over Viralia. For Leo, sleep came with dreams of glowing forests and floating gardens. He did not know the challenges ahead, but he was determined to show that humans could be honorable. On Viralia, the first seeds of trust were quietly being planted, though both human and alien still had much to learn about each other. The next morning, the sky over Viralia was bright with the light of the twin suns. Birds with shimmering wings flew across the palace gardens. Leo woke early, eager to explore more of the world and learn about its people. The other humans were still asleep, resting after the long journey, but Leo could not wait. Every moment was an opportunity to understand Viralia better. As he walked through the crystal corridors, he noticed servants preparing for a ceremony. Flowers that glowed with soft colors were being arranged in intricate patterns. Floating lanterns hovered above the floor, casting gentle light on the walls. Leo was fascinated by the beauty and precision. He stopped a young Viralian attendant and asked politely, "What is this ceremony for?" The attendant paused, bowing slightly. "It is a traditional event, your arrival ceremony. It honors those who come to our planet. Sometimes, it also marks the joining of people through promises or alliances." Leo nodded, trying to understand. On Earth, alliances often meant politics, power, or business. Here, it seemed more personal and ceremonial. He felt both honored and nervous. From her balcony above, Princess Nero watched the preparations. Her heart was uneasy. The emperor had spoken of humans in the past, warning that some might be dangerous. Stories of humans taking what they wanted haunted her thoughts. Now, seeing Leo among them, she wondered if he might be different. But the fear lingered. Not that human, she whispered to herself, though the words carried less certainty than before. The ceremony hall soon filled with Viralian leaders and their guests. Humans were led in carefully, and Leo could feel the eyes of dozens of people upon him. He remained calm, bowing respectfully. The emperor rose and addressed everyone. "We honor our visitors. Let this day be one of understanding. Let actions show your intentions more than words." Leo's heart pounded. This was not just a greeting. It was a test. He remembered the kindness he had shown the children the day before. Could that be enough to show that humans could be trusted? As the ceremony began, an unexpected moment occurred. Some council members, concerned about future alliances, suggested a symbolic gesture, a promise of unity. In their culture, this sometimes meant marriage between chosen parties. Leo froze. He had not expected this. Princess Nera gasped quietly, her hands trembling. The thought of marrying a human terrified her. She had been told humans were merciless. She could not imagine sharing her life with someone from a race she had always feared. She looked directly at Leo, her eyes wide, and whispered again, "Not that human." Leo, unaware of the whispers, stayed calm. He had never thought about marriage in this context, especially not so soon. But he understood the importance of respect. He bowed slightly toward the emperor and said, "I am honored, but I wish to understand your people and traditions first. I mean no harm." Some Viralian leaders murmured among themselves. Leo's words were polite and careful. He had not refused, but he had also not agreed blindly. Nera noticed this. She felt a small spark of hope. Perhaps this human was not like the ones in her fears. After the ceremony, Leo was invited to participate in traditional trials that measured courage, intelligence, and empathy. The trials were not meant to be cruel. They were tests of character. Leo agreed, determined to show that humans could act with honor. The first trial involved navigating a labyrinth filled with illusions. Many humans might have panicked, but Leo used careful observation. He noticed patterns in the walls and followed subtle sounds to guide himself. When he reached the center, he found a glowing crystal and returned it to the judges. They nodded with approval. Princess Nero watched from a high balcony, still anxious. She saw Leo carefully making his way through challenges. His focus and patience impressed her. She whispered softly, "Not that human," this time with a hint of admiration. She could not deny that he behaved differently from the stories she had heard. The second trial tested empathy. A group of young Viralians were acting out a scenario of fear and pain. Leo had to help them without causing harm. He approached gently, speaking softly, and guided them to safety. The children smiled, some even touching his hand in trust. The council members exchanged looks of surprise. After the trials, a private audience was arranged for Leo with Princess Nera. She stepped forward, her voice calm but wary. "You have impressed many, human," she said. "But my people fear yours. Many believe humans are merciless. Why should I trust you?" Leo bowed politely. "Because I want to earn your trust. I do not wish to take what is not offered. I wish only to help and to understand." His words were simple, but they carried honesty. Nira's eyes studied him. His sincerity was clear, though her heart still held caution. The conversation was interrupted by a messenger. News arrived that a rival faction within the palace had spoken against the humans, planning to spread fear and doubt. Leo and Nira exchanged a glance. They both understood that trust would not come easily. The rivalry would test them both. Later, Leo explored the palace gardens with Nira watching from above. He admired the floating flowers and glowing fountains. Every detail fascinated him, but he also noticed small signs of tension among the Viralian leaders. Some were curious and hopeful, while others were suspicious and angry. As evening fell, the ceremony preparations concluded. Lanterns floated into the sky, casting golden light over the palace. Humans and Viralians mingled, sharing stories and laughter. Leo felt a quiet satisfaction. He had shown patience, courage, and kindness. Perhaps this was the first step toward understanding. Princess Nira, however, remained cautious. She still feared what humans could do, but she also could not ignore the truth she had seen. This human, Leo, had acted differently. His behavior had stirred a mixture of curiosity and relief in her heart. She would watch him closely, learning whether her fears were justified or if trust could grow. As the night settled over Viralia, the twin moons reflected on the crystal towers. Leo returned to the guest quarters, tired but hopeful. He knew challenges were ahead. The ceremony had been only the beginning. The tests would continue, and trust would take time. But for the first time, he felt that humans could show their true worth in the eyes of aliens, not through power, but through respect and courage. In her chambers, Nira gazed at the stars. She remembered her whispers of fear, her repeated thought of not that human. Yet tonight, that thought had changed slightly. Perhaps, just perhaps, this human could be different. She would not trust blindly, but she would watch. She would learn whether humans could be allies, friends, or something more. The first seeds of understanding had been planted. And in the quiet palace of Viralia, the human and the princess began a journey that would challenge old fears and create new bonds. The morning sun rose over Viralia, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The palace gardens shimmered with dew, and floating fountains reflected the light, creating dancing patterns on the crystal walls. Leo woke early, his mind buzzing with anticipation. Today was the first real test arranged by the council. It would determine whether the humans could truly be trusted. He dressed carefully and stepped into the hall where the Viralian council awaited. The leaders were tall and elegant, their glowing eyes filled with curiosity and caution. At the center stood Princess Nira. She observed Leo closely, her hands folded in front of her. Her heart was still wary, though she could not deny the small spark of hope she felt after seeing his actions during the ceremony. The council spoke in unison. Today, you will face challenges that measure courage, intelligence, and empathy. These are the qualities our people value most. Your actions will show whether humans are worthy of our trust. Leo nodded respectfully. I will do my best to honor your traditions and show respect. The first challenge was announced. A group of young Viralian children had wandered into a dense forest outside the palace, where thick vines and glowing plants made movement difficult. The task was to rescue them without causing harm. Leo felt a surge of determination. He had already shown kindness to Viralian children, but this was a greater test. He entered the forest, the air cool and fragrant with alien flowers. Strange creatures flitted through the trees, their wings shimmering like glass. Leo moved carefully, observing the plants and creatures. He listened to the soft whispers of the wind and the distant laughter of the children. Using his knowledge of nature and his human instincts, he avoided dangerous plants and guided his path toward the children. Princess Nira watched from a crystal balcony overlooking the forest. Her heart raced. She had always believed humans were merciless and reckless. Yet, this human was cautious, thoughtful, and calm. He did not rush, but he did not hesitate either. She could see the intelligence in his movements. Her fear wavered slightly, replaced by curiosity. After a short search, Leo found the children trapped on a glowing vine bridge high above a river. One child clung tightly to the vines, too frightened to move. Leo spoke softly. "It's okay. I will help you. Take my hand when you are ready." The children hesitated, but Leo's calm voice reassured them. One by one, they followed his guidance, stepping carefully across the bridge. When they reached solid ground, the children hugged him, their faces bright with relief. Leo smiled, wiping a small smudge of glowing sap from one child's cheek. Back in the palace, the council murmured in approval. Princess Nira's eyes were wide with surprise. This human had risked his safety to help without hesitation. She whispered quietly, "Not that human," realizing again that Leo was unlike the humans she had feared. The second challenge was more difficult. Leo was led to a hall filled with strange machines and puzzles. His task was to solve them to unlock a door that led to a hidden library. The puzzles were designed to test intelligence and patience. Many humans might have become frustrated or angry, but Leo remained calm. He studied the patterns on the machines, observing how light and movement interacted. Slowly, step by step, he unlocked the first mechanism. Then the second. Each success built his confidence. Finally, the last puzzle clicked into place, and the door opened. Inside, the library held knowledge of Viralia's history, culture, and inventions. Leo felt awe and respect. He had earned the right to learn their secrets because he had shown patience and skill. Princess Nira entered the library next, escorted by a council member. She observed Leo reading quietly, absorbing the knowledge without arrogance. Unlike some humans who might boast or misuse power, Leo studied with humility. Nira's heart felt lighter. Perhaps humans could be trusted, but she still remained cautious. The final test was the hardest. A rival faction within the palace had arranged a staged situation where Leo had to act with empathy and courage simultaneously. A group of Viralians was trapped in a simulated cave collapse, and the air was filled with faint but realistic smoke. The council wanted to see whether Leo would act recklessly to save himself or courageously to help others. Leo did not hesitate. He entered the cave, calling out to the Viralians inside. He guided them calmly, using his knowledge of physics and human problem solving. He lifted heavy debris carefully, ensuring that no one was harmed. When he reached the last Viralian, he saw a young girl frozen with fear. "Take my hand," Leo said softly. "We will get out together." The girl hesitated but felt the warmth of his hand and the sincerity in his voice. Slowly, she followed him. Together, they exited the cave safely. The council erupted in applause. This was more than a test of skill, it was a demonstration of heart. Princess Nira stood silently for a moment, her thoughts in turmoil. Her fear of humans had been strong, almost unbreakable. Yet she could not deny what she had seen. Leo had acted with honor, courage, and compassion. He had risked himself for the safety of others. She whispered again, "Not that human," but this time the words carried admiration and wonder. After the tests, the council convened to discuss their findings. They agreed unanimously that Leo had passed with distinction. Humans, at least this human, could act with kindness and honor. The emperor approached Leo personally. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and empathy. You have earned our respect. But remember, trust is not given lightly. It grows with time and continued actions." Leo bowed deeply. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will continue to act with respect and honor." That evening, Leo returned to his quarters, exhausted but proud. He had faced the first test and succeeded. Yet he knew the challenges were only beginning. He had to continue proving that humans could be different. Princess Nira could not sleep. She paced her chambers, thinking about the day. Her fear had been challenged by what she had witnessed. Perhaps humans were not all merciless. Perhaps trust could grow. Still, she would remain cautious. She had to protect her people, and trust must be earned fully. The first test had ended, but the journey of understanding was only beginning. On Viralaya, a cautious bond had formed between a human and an alien princess. Both had seen the possibility of friendship, yet both knew the road ahead was filled with uncertainty and challenge. The twin moons rose over the crystal towers, casting silver light across the palace gardens. Leo and Princess Nira had each faced their own fears and expectations. The first seeds of trust had taken root. In the quiet night, a human and a princess prepared for the trials to come, unaware of the dangers and discoveries that awaited them in the days ahead. The morning sun rose slowly over Viralaya, casting soft golden light across the crystal towers and floating gardens. The palace was quiet, but a sense of tension lingered in the air. Leo had spent the night reviewing his notes from the trials, preparing for whatever the council would ask next. He wanted to show that humans could be trusted and that his actions were always honest. Meanwhile, Princess Nira walked along the balcony of her chambers. She could not stop thinking about the day before. Leo had impressed her with courage, intelligence, and empathy, yet she remained cautious. Her heart struggled between curiosity and fear. She had been taught to see humans as merciless, but this one human seemed different. Still, she could not ignore the warnings of the council and her people. Unseen by both Leo and Nira, a group of Viralian nobles whispered among themselves in shadowed corridors. They were jealous of Nira's influence and fearful of humans gaining favor. These nobles wanted to undermine the humans and ensure the princess remained distant from them. One of them, a tall figure with sharp eyes, suggested a plan. "If we can show that humans are dangerous, the council will reject them," he said softly. "We must create fear." Another noble nodded. "A staged threat would work. We could simulate danger, and the humans would have to react. Their reaction will either prove them unworthy or allow us to brand them reckless." The group began their preparations, unaware that Leo had already observed strange movements in the palace corridors. The human had a natural curiosity, and his attention to detail often revealed things others overlooked. As he walked through a quiet hall, he noticed shadows moving where no one should be. He slowed his steps and listened. Whispers floated from a side chamber. Leo's instincts told him something was wrong. He crept closer, careful not to be seen. Through the slightly open door, he saw the nobles speaking in hushed tones. They were planning a staged danger to frame the humans as threats to the princess. Leo felt a surge of determination. He could not allow this to happen. He had come in peace, and he would not let fear and jealousy ruin the trust he was trying to build. Leaving the corridor quietly, Leo sought Princess Nira. He found her in the garden, observing the floating flowers and listening to the soft hum of the fountains. "Princess," he said softly, "I think someone is planning something dangerous. I overheard voices in the hall. We need to be careful." Nira turned sharply, her glowing eyes wide with surprise. "Danger? Here? But who would do this?" Leo explained what he had seen, speaking calmly but clearly. "Some nobles may not want humans to gain trust. They could try to make it look like we are reckless or dangerous. I do not know the full plan, but I believe it could put you at risk." Nira's heart raced. Fear mixed with disbelief. She had begun to trust Leo, but the thought that danger was near shook her. She studied his face, seeing only honesty and concern. Slowly, she nodded. "We must act carefully. But we cannot let them succeed. Not for my people, and not for you." Together, they devised a plan. They would monitor the palace, watch for suspicious activity, and be ready to respond if the nobles attempted anything harmful. Leo would use his knowledge of human observation and problem solving, while Nero would guide him with her understanding of Viralian ways. The following hours were tense. Shadows moved across corridors, and whispers floated through empty halls. Leo and Nero moved silently, observing from hidden positions. They discovered secret messages sent between the nobles, revealing their plot to stage a kidnapping and make it appear that humans had caused it. Realizing the danger, Leo spoke firmly. "We must stop this before anyone gets hurt. If they succeed, it could destroy the trust we have worked to build. And you could be in real danger, Princess." Nira agreed. "Then we act now. Quietly and carefully. We must not let them see us coming." They waited for the right moment. When the nobles gathered in a hidden chamber to finalize their plan, Leo and Nero moved swiftly. Leo's knowledge of human stealth and problem-solving combined with Nira's intimate understanding of the palace's hidden passages. They approached the chamber unseen. Inside, the nobles were speaking urgently. "Tonight, we will create a threat," one said. "The humans will act recklessly. Then the council will have no choice but to turn against them." Leo signaled Nira. "We need to interrupt them now before they set anything in motion." Nira nodded. Using a quiet command, she unlocked the chamber's door from a hidden mechanism. The nobles gasped as the door opened, surprised and unprepared. Leo stepped forward calmly. "Your plan will not succeed. You endanger the princess and your people with your fear. Stop this now." The nobles froze, realizing their secret had been discovered. Nira stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. "I will not allow you to harm anyone. You are acting out of jealousy and fear, not honor. The humans here have shown courage and empathy. You will respect that, or face the consequences." The nobles' whispers fell silent. They understood that Nira's authority was absolute, and Leo's courage made it clear that humans were not to be underestimated. Reluctantly, the nobles backed down, their plan thwarted before it could harm anyone. After the confrontation, Nira turned to Leo. Her eyes reflected relief and gratitude. "You acted quickly and wisely. You saved not just yourself, but everyone here. I can see that humans can be honorable." Leo smiled politely. "I only acted to protect everyone. Trust must be earned, but it must also be defended. We cannot let fear or jealousy destroy it." That evening, the palace was calm once more. Nero walked with Leo through the gardens, the floating flowers casting soft light around them. She could not deny the courage she had seen, nor the care with which Leo had acted. For the first time, she felt that humans could truly be allies. Yet, she also knew that challenges remained. Other factions might still try to undermine the humans. Trust was fragile, and even one mistake could destroy it. She would watch closely, but she no longer feared all humans blindly. Leo had shown her that courage, intelligence, and empathy could bridge the gap between species. Leo, tired but satisfied, returned to his quarters. He had faced not just a test, but a real threat, and had acted with honor. He knew that proving humans could be trusted required more than skill, it required vigilance and a willingness to protect those who could not protect themselves. As the twin moons rose over the crystal towers, Nira gazed out at the night sky. Her thoughts were a mix of admiration and caution. This human, Leo, had proven himself in action. But the journey was far from over. Danger still existed, and the path to trust would be long. For now, however, a small victory had been won. The hidden threat had been stopped, and the bond between human and princess had strengthened. On Viralaya, the seeds of understanding had grown, ready to face the challenges of the days ahead. The night settled over the palace, quiet yet full of promise. Leo and Nira had faced fear and jealousy together, learning that courage and trust could overcome even hidden threats. Their journey had only begun, but hope now glimmered in the hearts of both human and alien alike. The morning on Viralaya was calm, but the air carried a quiet tension. The palace gardens glowed with soft light, and floating fountains reflected the rising suns. Leo walked through the corridors, reviewing his observations from the past few days. He had faced trials, challenges, and even a hidden threat, yet he knew that trust would not be won quickly. Each day brought new lessons, and each interaction mattered. Princess Nero watched him from her balcony. She had observed Leo closely, and her fear of humans was slowly changing. His courage, intelligence, and empathy were undeniable. Yet she could not forget the stories she had been told as a child. Humans could be dangerous. Nira's heart was torn between curiosity and caution. That morning, the emperor called for a meeting in the grand hall. Council members, nobles, and the humans gathered to discuss the future of relations between Earth and Viralaya. Some nobles still whispered among themselves, skeptical of the humans' intentions. They feared that trust could be misplaced. The emperor's voice filled the hall. Humans have shown courage and intelligence. Yet understanding is needed. They must prove their hearts, for knowledge alone is not enough. Leo bowed respectfully. I understand, Your Majesty. I wish to show that humans can act with care and honor. Not just in words, but in actions. The emperor nodded. Then we shall arrange a challenge that tests empathy and courage. This will reveal their true nature. Princess Nira's eyes followed Leo as he listened attentively. She was curious about how he would face this challenge. The council members led the humans to a nearby valley where a small village of Viralians was located. The village had been chosen for the test because it had delicate infrastructure and inhabitants who were unfamiliar with humans. The task was explained. A natural disaster simulation would take place, and the humans had to help the villagers without causing panic or harm. It was a test of empathy, problem solving, and courage under pressure. Leo took a deep breath. He had faced dangers before, but this challenge required more than skill. It required patience, understanding, and care for beings whose trust had to be earned. The simulation began. A sudden tremor shook the ground, and a small stream of water overflowed, threatening the village homes. The villagers were frightened, unsure what to do. Leo moved quickly but calmly, assessing the situation. He first approached the oldest villager, a woman with kind eyes and trembling hands. "Do not worry," Leo said softly. "We will guide everyone safely." The villagers hesitated at first, but Leo's calm and confident presence reassured them. He directed them to higher ground and helped carry fragile items to safety. The children followed him closely, trusting his guidance. Princess Nira watched from a nearby hill. She could see Leo's human qualities shining clearly. He was not rushing, not forcing anyone. He was acting with care, ensuring safety for all. Her heart began to soften further. Perhaps humans could be more than the stories had told. As the simulation progressed, a small group of villagers became trapped near a collapsing bridge. Leo did not hesitate. He ran toward them, carefully lifting and supporting the children as he guided them across. One child slipped, and Leo caught them just in time. The villagers gasped in awe, realizing that the human was risking himself for their safety. Nira felt a warmth in her chest. This human was unlike any she had imagined. His actions were honest, selfless, and brave. She whispered to herself, "Not that human," but this time her voice carried respect and admiration. The challenge continued as Leo faced more obstacles. A small fire started near one of the homes, and he quickly used water from the overflowing stream to contain it. He encouraged the villagers to help him, teaching them simple ways to protect themselves without panic. His guidance was patient and kind. By the end of the simulation, all villagers were safe. The small village had been protected without harm. The council members were impressed, some even nodding in approval. The emperor himself approached Leo. "You have shown what few humans can," the emperor said. "Courage, intelligence, and empathy. You have protected our people and earned respect. Yet there is more to learn. Trust is a journey, not a single act." Leo bowed. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will continue to act with honor and care." After the challenge, Leo walked with Nira to a quiet spot in the palace gardens. The glowing flowers swayed gently in the light breeze. She studied him carefully, her eyes searching for any sign of deception. "You have shown much courage and care," she said softly. "Yet I cannot forget the past. Humans have caused pain to many worlds. Why should I trust you completely?" Leo smiled gently. "Because I choose to act differently. My actions show my heart. I cannot change the past, but I can prove that humans can be kind and honorable. Trust is earned, not given." Nira felt the truth in his words. His honesty was rare, and his actions backed it up. She could see that he truly cared, not just about her, but about all Viralians. They sat together for a moment in silence, watching the floating lanterns reflect in the water. Nira's thoughts were a mix of curiosity and caution. She wanted to trust him, but she knew it would take time. As the day ended, the palace returned to calm. The humans were invited to share a meal with the emperor and the council. Food prepared from glowing plants and exotic ingredients was served. Leo tried everything politely, showing respect for Viralian customs. Nira observed quietly, noting his humility and patience. During the meal, a message arrived from one of the rival factions. They were unhappy with Leo's success and whispered among themselves, planning to challenge him further. Nira sensed the tension and felt a surge of protectiveness. She realized that she had begun to care about this human, not just as a guest, but as someone she could rely on. After the meal, Nira and Leo walked through the quiet palace halls. She spoke softly. "You have shown your heart today. I cannot deny it. Perhaps humans can be more than the stories say." Leo nodded. I hope so. I want to prove it every day. Not just for you, but for all who doubt humans. Actions matter more than words. Nira smiled faintly, a rare expression of warmth. Then let us continue this journey carefully. Trust must grow, and there will be challenges ahead. But I am willing to learn if you are willing to teach. Leo felt a quiet joy. For the first time, he sensed that the gap between humans and Viralians could be bridged. Through courage, empathy, and understanding, friendship was possible. As the twin moons rose over the palace, casting silver light on the crystal towers, both human and princess reflected on the day. They had faced challenges, observed true courage, and begun to understand each other. The journey ahead would not be easy, but the bond forming between them was real. In the quiet night, Viralia seemed to breathe with hope. A human had shown a true heart, and a princess had begun to see beyond fear. Together, they would face the trials yet to come, learning that courage and kindness could unite worlds. The skies over Viralia were filled with soft light as the twin suns rose, casting a golden glow over the crystal towers. The palace had been quiet for days, but Leo could feel tension in the air. The rival faction had grown restless, frustrated that their attempts to undermine him had failed. He knew they would act soon. Princess Nira sensed the unease as well. She walked along the balcony of her chambers, watching the gardens below. Her thoughts were occupied with Leo and the human's presence on Viralia. She had begun to trust him, but she also knew that danger could appear at any moment. Her instincts as a princess and protector of her people told her to remain alert. That afternoon, a sudden alarm rang throughout the palace. A group of the rival faction had attempted a direct attack. Smoke rose from the eastern wing, and distant shouts echoed through the halls. Guards rushed to defend the palace, but the attackers were skilled and well armed. Leo did not hesitate. He ran toward the source of the commotion, his mind focused on protecting everyone. Along the way, he saw Viralian guards struggling against the attackers. Without thinking of his own safety, he used his strength and knowledge to help them, lifting debris and guiding injured guards to safety. Princess Nira followed from a distance, observing how Leo moved. She could see the determination in his eyes, the careful yet swift actions he took to ensure no one was harmed. Her heart swelled with admiration, mixed with worry. This human, whom she had feared for so long, was risking himself for her people. The attackers advanced into the central courtyard, where citizens and guards had gathered. Leo positioned himself between the attackers and the civilians. Using a combination of human tactics and quick thinking, he managed to block the attackers' path while protecting the innocent. Nira joined him, using her knowledge of the palace and its defensive systems. Together, they coordinated their actions, combining human ingenuity with Viralian skill. Guards and humans alike followed their lead, inspired by their courage. The attackers, realizing they were met with organized resistance, tried to retreat. But Leo and Nira anticipated their movements, cutting off escape routes. They cornered the faction members in a side hall. Leo stepped forward calmly. "You have endangered innocent lives for jealousy and fear," he said. "Your actions are dishonorable. Stop now, or face the consequences." The attackers hesitated, shocked by the human's bravery and composure. Nira's presence reinforced authority. Her glowing eyes and firm voice left no doubt that they could not succeed. Reluctantly, the attackers surrendered. The palace guards secured the intruders, and the threat was neutralized. Citizens and council members breathed a sigh of relief. The rival faction's plot had failed, thanks to the quick thinking and bravery of Leo and Nira. After the confrontation, the emperor summoned Leo and Nira. "You have both shown courage, wisdom, and loyalty," he said. "You acted to protect our people, not for personal gain. This is the true measure of honor." Leo bowed respectfully. "I only acted to keep everyone safe. Trust is earned through actions, and I hope today has proven that humans can act with honor." Nira stepped forward, her voice clear and calm. "I have witnessed your courage, Leo. You have risked yourself for those who could not protect themselves. You have earned respect, and perhaps even trust." The emperor smiled. "Trust is a journey, and today marks an important step. You have both shown that courage and cooperation can bridge worlds." That evening, the palace was quiet once more. The twin moons rose, casting silver light over the towers and gardens. Leo walked with Nira through the floating gardens, their soft glow reflecting in their eyes. "You were incredible today," Nira said softly. "I have never seen a human act with such care and courage. I I am beginning to understand what stories do not tell." Leo smiled gently. "I have always believed that actions define us, not our history. I want to show your people that humans can be allies, friends, and protectors. I hope you will allow that trust to grow." Nero looked at him thoughtfully. Her heart had softened, yet caution remained. "I want to trust, Leo. But trust must be earned fully. You have shown much, but there is still more to learn." Leo nodded. "I understand. I am ready for whatever challenges come next." For the first time, they walked together not as human and alien, but as partners facing a common goal. Their teamwork during the confrontation had created a bond built on respect, courage, and understanding. Over the next few days, Viralia slowly returned to normal. Citizens and council members praised Leo for his bravery, and some of the skeptical nobles began to reconsider their assumptions about humans. Princess Nira observed quietly, seeing how humans could contribute to the safety and growth of her people. She also reflected on her own feelings. Fear had once dominated her thoughts about humans, but now admiration and curiosity were growing. Leo had shown not only bravery but a genuine heart. He had risked himself without expectation of reward, something few humans or aliens had done in her experience. One evening, as the palace quieted and lanterns floated gently above the gardens, Leo and Nira stood side by side. The twin moons illuminated their faces, casting a serene glow. "You have changed my view of humans," Nira said softly. "I can see that courage and kindness exist, even in those I once feared. You have shown me a human heart that is worthy of respect." Leo looked at her, his eyes calm but sincere. "I am grateful for your trust, Princess. I hope it will continue to grow, and that together we can show both our peoples that understanding and friendship are possible." Nira nodded. Her heart was still cautious, but it had opened in a way it never had before. "We will face challenges, Leo. But today has shown me that courage and trust can overcome fear. Perhaps one day, humans and Viralians can truly work together." As they stood together, the palace seemed to breathe with hope. The confrontation had tested them, but it had also strengthened their bond. Leo had proven his bravery, and Nira had begun to see humans in a new light. The night settled over Viralia, calm yet full of promise. The lessons of courage, loyalty, and teamwork had been learned. But both knew that the journey was far from over. Threats remained, challenges awaited, and the path to full trust would continue to test them. Yet for the first time, human and princess faced the future together, ready to meet whatever came next. They had survived danger, protected the innocent, and learn the value of courage and heart. On Viralaya, a new chapter was beginning, one where trust could grow and worlds could unite. The morning sky over Viralaya glowed with soft shades of gold and lavender. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, scattering light across the floating gardens. The palace, once tense from rival factions and threats, now felt calmer. But Leo knew this calm was fragile. Trust had been built slowly, and there was still much work to solidify it. Princess Nero walked beside him through the palace corridors. Her steps were measured, but her eyes were bright with determination. She had come to see Leo not as a stranger, but as someone who had proven his heart repeatedly. Still, she knew that true understanding between humans and Viralians required more than courage in a single confrontation. It required consistent respect, patience, and care. The emperor had called a special gathering in the central hall. Representatives from all factions were present, including those who had once opposed the humans. The room shimmered with soft light, reflecting off the crystalline walls. Leo and Nira entered together, their presence commanding quiet attention. The emperor spoke first. "We have witnessed acts of courage, intelligence, and empathy. The human among us has proven that trust can be earned. But there remains one final act to show that understanding and cooperation can last beyond immediate danger." Leo listened carefully. He had already faced trials, emergencies, and hidden threats. He understood that this final act would test more than skill, it would test his ability to lead, to show care, and to build bonds across worlds. The challenge was revealed. A remote research outpost on the outskirts of Viralaya had experienced a sudden collapse due to unstable terrain. Scientists and workers were trapped inside. The task was to organize a rescue, using both human and Viralian knowledge, without causing harm or panic. Leo's mind worked quickly. He organized teams, combining human techniques with Viralian strategies. Princess Nira joined him, guiding the teams through the terrain with her knowledge of the land and palace technology. Together, they moved with precision, ensuring that every worker and scientist was safe. The operation was difficult. Rocks shifted unexpectedly, and small tremors threatened the outpost. Leo moved calmly, directing both humans and Viralians. He instructed them on safe paths, demonstrated careful lifting techniques, and reassured the trapped workers. His courage and thoughtfulness inspired confidence. Nero watched in awe. She had feared humans, imagining them reckless and merciless. Yet here was one human acting with thoughtfulness, patience, and care. He had risked himself many times, not for glory, but for the safety of others. Her heart began to soften fully. When the last worker was safely guided from the collapsing outpost, the emperor and council members erupted in applause. The operation had been a success, and it demonstrated more than bravery. It showed the ability to unite two worlds in cooperation, respect, and care. After the successful rescue, the emperor addressed the gathering. "Today, we have seen that trust can grow through repeated actions. This human has proven that courage, intelligence, and empathy are not limited by race or world. He has earned our full respect." Leo bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only wish to show that humans can be honorable and caring. I hope that our actions today will allow humans and Viralians to work together in peace and understanding." Princess Nira stepped forward. Her glowing eyes met Leo's. "You have shown me a human heart that is kind, brave, and true. I have seen your actions, and they speak more loudly than any words. I trust you." The room was quiet for a moment as Nira's words sank in. The skeptical nobles, who had once whispered against the humans, exchanged looks of surprise. They could see that Leo's actions were consistent and honorable. Even those who had doubted humans could not deny the truth they had witnessed. Later, in the palace gardens, Leo and Nero walked together in the soft glow of floating lanterns. The twin moons reflected on the water, creating patterns of silver and blue. "You have changed my view of humans completely," Nero said softly. "I once feared your kind. I thought all humans were merciless. But you have shown me otherwise. You have earned my trust and my respect." Leo smiled. "I am grateful for your trust, Princess. I hope that what I have done will help humans and Viralians work together in the future. We can learn from each other, grow together, and protect each other." Nero's eyes glimmered. "I believe that now. And I want to see our peoples united. Your courage and care have shown that humans can be allies, not enemies." As the night settled over the palace, they continued to walk. The bond between them had grown strong, forged through shared challenges, danger, and acts of compassion. What had begun as fear and skepticism had transformed into trust and understanding. The palace citizens whispered among themselves. Stories of the human who had protected Viralia spread quickly. Children and elders alike spoke of courage, kindness, and teamwork. Leo's actions had become a symbol of what humans could be when guided by empathy and honor. Princess Nero paused to look at him. "There will be more challenges ahead," she said. "Other worlds may not trust humans easily. But together, we can show them that courage and care cross boundaries." Leo nodded. "I am ready. I want to continue proving that humans can act with honor, every day." In the quiet of the palace gardens, a sense of peace settled. The twin moons reflected on the crystal towers, the floating gardens shimmered, and the air carried the soft hum of life. For the first time, humans and Viralians could imagine a future built on cooperation and trust. The journey had been long, filled with trials and dangers, but it had reached a turning point. Leo had shown that humans could be brave and kind. Princess Nera had learned that fear could be replaced by understanding. And together, they had begun a partnership that could unite worlds. As they looked at the glowing fountains and lanterns, Nera spoke quietly. "I once feared humans. I once whispered, 'Not that human.' But now, I see a heart that is true. I see courage, wisdom, and care. I am grateful that you are here." Leo reached out, offering his hand. "And I am grateful to be trusted. I hope we can continue to protect your people and build a future together." Nera took his hand, a symbol of newfound trust and partnership. The bond between them had grown through trials, courage, and understanding. What had begun as skepticism had turned into respect, admiration, and hope. The twin moons rose higher in the sky, casting silver light across Viralia. The palace was calm, safe, and filled with promise. Leo and Nera stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had proven that courage, empathy, and trust could unite not only individuals but worlds. And in that quiet, luminous night, a human and a princess had shown that even the deepest fears could be overcome, and that understanding could grow between the most unlikely allies. The story of Viralia had changed forever, and the seeds of friendship, courage, and trust had taken root for generations to come.